Okay, this is where we left off. We had a real basic structure. Let's look at that structure one more time. We had a wrapper in our HTML, a main content, and a footer. And what I'm going to suggest we do next is a header. So I'm going to say div id equals header. And let's close that. And let's go ahead and close the header right away. And we're not going to put any content in here. We're going to put the content in the CSS. I'll show you how. We'll just we'll do a hash header and put in our curly brackets. And this time I want to start putting some images in. So the way to do that is we can say background colon. We'll just click on URL, and I'm going to pick this one, header, for my background, and then I put in a semicolon at the end of each value. So this is the property, background, this is the value. Okay, and you got to make sure that you've got the right name here, and that it's in the right folder. And for now, I'm just going to put everything in the same folder so that we don't possibly, get confused or confuse those of you who are kind of new at this. So let's see, does this work? Let's do a split view. Click over here. I don't see it working, so we have to ask ourselves, why not? Oh, let's do this. Let's save the file, preview it in Firefox, drag that over here. I don't see the header. So that's probably because we never defined the size of the header. Kind of got ahead of myself, so let's do that. Let's say that width for the header is 900, and we're probably going to get height too on that. I don't usually use heights for divs, but on headers it makes sense. Let's say 150px, and let's save it. And go back and see how it turned out. There we go, there's the header. It's not all showing. To get that totally legit, let's make this 960 and this 960, and we'll make the footer 960 also, so everything matches up. And come back and see if that looks any better. Yep, that'll work better. So we got our basic header, we've got our page, but if we play with the browser size, you'll see that the page is kind of stuck on the left-hand side. So what I'm going to do is make it so that page gets centered. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and add a background image to this page as well. So let's do that. Now we have a body, true? But it's not a div ID body, is it? It's just a basic body tag. So what I can do is here above the style, I can put in a new tag for body. Body doesn't need a hash symbol, and let's put in our curly brackets so we can put our properties and values in, and let's pull that back, and I want this to be background colon, and I'll pick URL, and I want that to be logos. It's just some logos I found somewhere, and let's put in our semicolon always at the end of this value. And let's click, and look, that's working fine. We've got a background there. And let's do this also. This background, this wrapper has a width of 960, but what I'm going to do is say that the margin for that, top and bottom, is 0, and for left and right is auto, which will automatically try to center the page. Okay, so when you put in two values for a margin, you're basically saying top and bottom should be this, and right and left should be this. And it automatically centers the page when we do that. So let's see if that works. There, we got our background, and when we readjust the size of the browser, Firefox in this case, the page centers itself, which is what most pages do these days. That's what we want, that kind of functionality. Okay. That gets us started. The footer probably needs a little bit of height. Did you notice how short the footer is? See that little green bar at the bottom? So that means let's add a little height to the footer as well. Uh, 50 pixels ought to be enough. And refresh the page, looks good. I could tell you that if you want this text centered, it's pretty easy to do. I'll just go to text align, colon, and we'll pick center from the list of choices and see how that worked. Yes, looks good. Maybe you want a little margin on the top of that to pull it down a little bit. Let's do that. There's a few ways to do that, actually. Actually, if we do that, that isn't really going to do that to the text. What we probably want to do is set a padding top. There's a few ways, but I'll just show you this one. Padding top, let's say 10 pixels, and save, and come back in. Where'd it go? Yes, and refresh the page. And now you see we have a little padding. The padding actually adds to the size of your div though, so be careful. You know, you may have to bump this down if this gets bigger. Padding and margin increase the size of any given div. And it takes a little while to get used to that. Okay, let's move to something else. Let's see what this one's got going on. Not too much on this one, but I do have a menu. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, I want to show you how a menu can be created. Let's look at just the code first. Now here we are in this case it's not a wrapper, it's a container. Same thing, just a big box that holds all the other boxes. Here's our header. In this case the header has an H1 in it to describe, you know, what's in the header. We've got a main menu. We close the main menu. All that is before the main content. So I've got some links here. The first link, second link, third link, and what I've got in these links is really this is an A, which means an anchor, and hypertext reference, href, hypertext reference. So when someone clicks on this link text, they're going to go to this location, index.html. If you don't know the location yet, you can always put in a hash, and it'll work as a link, but it won't take you anywhere. Let's just go back to what we had. And then you always have to close your links with a /a. Okay, so that's how you can set up a really simple menu. We can talk about list menus another time. They're a little bit more complex, but here's a very simple menu. Just some links inside of a div. Call the div anything you want, but main menu is a good default name. Okay, so what's the CSS look like? For the CSS, you have to decide. Now, normally I tend to go with position relative for these. We'll talk about that later. I've given it a background color of gray, a height of 30 pixels, and a width of 960 pixels. But here, for the link, for any anchor that is going to be coming off of this main menu, notice I've got main menu space A. That's going to float to the left. Now, what is that? If I go to design, or let's go to a split view and slide this over a little bit, whenever I put in a link like this one or this one or this one, that is going to trigger this A. So these things are all floating to the left. The font size for them is 1M, which is similar to saying that it's 10 pixels or 15 pixels. But an M is the same size as the default font if it was a letter M. Okay, so you can read up on that, but that's basically how we're sizing our text for this link. And then the margin left is 50 pixels. That means 50 pixels here, 50 pixels here. Every one of these links gets 50 pixels to the left of it. And it's displayed as a block, and when I do that, that means when I click on this anywhere, it's going to highlight. Let me show you. Let's look at this. Preview it in the Firefox, save the changes. Yes. See that? If I hover this anywhere, it shows up as the whole box highlights. If I didn't have display as block, it would only highlight when I hover over the actual text of the word. Okay, so width 100 pixels, that's how wide this bar is. And we don't have to set that, but we're going to set it for now. And then text align center, we're putting the text in the center of each of these little boxes. And then padding 5 pixels, 0, 4 pixels, and 0. If you have 4 values for padding, you always start on the top, then you go right, bottom, and left. So 5 pixels above the home, 0 pixels to the right, and there's already, we don't need left and right pixels because we've already ascribed a width of 100. And then 4 pixels below and 0 on the left. Okay, so that's how we're doing that. And then we're saying if it's a link, let's make the color of the text black, and let's make the background color green. If it's a visited link, I shouldn't have put this here, I'm going to say color is going to be purple, let's say. And if it's a hover link, we're going to change the background color to blue, and we're going to underline it. And if it's an active link, that is if we're pressing down on it, let's make it turn green. Okay, so let's save that and bring it back up and see if it works. If I hover it, it turns blue, and if I press down on it, it turns green. And these are just arbitrary colors I'm using here. The important thing about this is these are called pseudo selectors. Now these always have to be in a certain order, and you don't actually need all of them, but if you're going to use all these, and I'm using link and visited and hover and active, they should always be in the order of LVHA, which you can use the term love ha, LOVEHA, to remember that. Now you could get by with just, I think, link and hover, but visited is kind of nice so people can know if they visited a page or not. And active can be good because it makes it a little more interactive. So, okay, that gets us started on our main menu. Is there anything else here that's important for you to know about? Oh yeah, in the body, here I'm setting up, let me go to just pure code here. I'm setting up a background color, which you've seen before, a font size of 100%, and a font family of Arial, Helvetica, and Sans Serif. Let's change that. Let's change the font family to Tahoma, Geneva, and Sans Serif. What this means is that if the client that's viewing this, if the customer or the visitor has Tahoma on his machine, it'll run that. Otherwise, it'll run the next thing on the list and the next thing on the list. So it's an order of priority. It's a font stack. And so you can have more than 3 in there if you want to. And anything else? I don't think so. I think that's good enough on that one. And we've reached 14 minutes. So in the next video, I'm going to show how to add images to the page and how to add classes so that you determine where those images go. In fact, do I have anything I can show you here for that? And we also need to talk about floats pretty fast here. We'll do that in the next video.